Olympic City, Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is the USA Volleyball Show, and here are your hosts, Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson.
Hello, and welcome to the USA Volleyball Show, the official podcast of USA Volleyball. Of course, my name is Stephen Munson, and joined by my co-host, Clarence Hughes. Clarence, how are you doing today?
What do we tell people about lying? You know, your name is Stevine from here on out. Stevine Munson. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm doing good.
I need to etch that on my new USA Volleyball mug, USA Volleyball Show mug.
Or we can just get you some business cards that have Stevine with the pronunciation to the right.
Yep, that's perfect.
Right. All right.
That's
right.
Throw
that in the budget. We'll throw it in there. But I'm doing good. Had a busy weekend of club volleyball again. Coaching my 17s in our past power. And I've been up in Loveland, commuting to Loveland the past 3 weekends in a row. So I'm just like,
that's quite the drive. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm so burnt out of Loveland, but I mean, my 17s did amazing. I'm so proud of them. We got second overall in our pool, which is good. Yeah, that's about it. More volleyball. That's it.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, I think I saw a social media post where your club did very well at the tournaments over the weekend. So congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you. How's your weekend? What have you been up to?
Oh, just recovering from a cold. This one knocked me out, man.
That time of year.
It started what's today? We're recording this on Monday. It started not this last Friday, but the Friday before that. So a couple weeks ago, but finally feeling much better and overall symptom free. So feeling good and yeah, just ready to kick the cold and get this year started right.
I see. Did you get that man cold, that man flu? That's the
amplified. My wife liked to remind me about that, about the man cold, but yeah, it knocked me out.
That's insane. Wow.
But yeah, just excited about this episode, our second episode of 2023. Just to kick things off, in case you missed it, if you're interested in learning more about name, image, and likeness, that hot topic that's hitting college sports right now, check out episode 55 featuring NIL Network founder and NIL coordinator at San Diego State, Michelle Meyer. Michelle explains what NIL is, its effect on college athletics, how athletes can best prepare themselves and take advantage of opportunities in NIL, and so much more. A great episode, very interesting topic. Like I said, hot topic in sports right now. Check it out on all podcast platforms, and you can watch it on the USA Volleyball YouTube and USA Volleyball website, usavolleyball.org. Now, let's bring it back to news with Hughes.
Round of applause, Stevine. Great job.
Thank you.
Now on to news with Hughes. Some really, really good information, a really big announcement here. The 2023 USA Volleyball Mountain Classic Boys Junior National Qualifier is coming to Denver, Colorado. That is right. Denver, Colorado on December 1st through the 3rd at the Colorado Convention Center. This event will be a qualifier for the 2024 Boys Junior National Championship on July 26th through July 3rd in Dallas, Texas, Stevine's hometown.
Great spot.
Continuing to look ahead, USA Volleyball has selected Kansas City, Missouri to host the 2025 Girls Junior National Championship for the 11 through 13s age divisions, and June 21st through the 24th at the Kansas City Convention and Entertainment Center. More information on these news releases and other news items can be found at usavolleyball.org.
Now, on to today's show. We have back-to-back Michelle featured episodes. I just realized that when I was looking at this run of show, but back-to-back Michelle featured episodes. Today's episode, we're talking to Michelle Goodall, Beach ParaVolley program administrator at USA Volleyball and assistant coach on the U.S. women's national team coaching staff. Unfortunately, I could not be there in person due to snow affecting the roads here in Denver, but Clarence was able to meet with Michelle and catch up in our new studio setup. for the very first time, I believe, at USA Volleyball at the USA Volleyball headquarters office in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Michelle and U.S. Women's Sitting National Team and the U.S. Women's Sitting National Team were just in town, also, which you guys talk about for training camp, USOPC testing, and of course USA Volleyball Media Day as well. Michelle shares her introduction to volleyball, team goals, looking ahead to Paris, all things Beach ParaVolley, and so much more. But that's enough setup for this episode, Clarence. Let's go to the conversation. Here's Michelle.
Michelle, good friend.
Hey.
How have you been? That's my first question. How have you been?
I've been great.
You're
How are
great.
you?
I'm good, hanging in there.
I'm here in Colorado Springs. We just got done with a training camp and a lot of elite athlete health profiling and just living the dream. I'm doing well.
Training camp right here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah,
right?
it was great at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. And we had a great time. We had 12 athletes in and just knocked out a lot of important things this week. We did our media day with USA Volleyball.
How was that? How'd
That was
go?
great. It was great. They did a great job. They came in, took care of a lot of interviewing, a lot of photography, and just did a really great job.
Okay. What was the highlight from that week? So you can maybe point out one or two things.
From the week, well, just reconnecting. We hadn't seen each other since World Championships.
Okay.
And that wasn't really our favorite way to leave, because I don't know if you know the story. We got third, and our expectations or our goals were first. And so just getting back together was a highlight, and just, hugging each other when we first saw each other. That was a highlight. The training wasn't like the most important thing this week, but because we're just getting back into it, but that was good. But then we had an athlete, a local athlete, Zoe Rowling. And so she came down with her family. I'll call her recruit, because that's kind of a common word that we could use. But she came down with her family, and it was just really great to have them in our gym and have our ladies have an opportunity to meet her and hear her story. And so that was kind of a sweet spot. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm so bummed I missed it. I didn't even get a chance to stop by at all. I know we had to pack for our Salt Lake.
I know we were looking at our watches like, when's Clarence coming? No.
And then coaching got tied up with we had like a lot of shifting responsibilities for the club I'm at, and that's where I'll leave it at there. So
do you feel this like coaching and volleyball gets in the way of your volleyball? Like all the time, it's just like it's like you're like we're layered, and it's
coaching
like gets in the way.
Volleyball gets in the way, but I love that.
Yeah, it gets in the way. Volleyball gets in the way of our volleyball. There's so many elements.
Everybody always talks about, hey, what do you do? And I'm just like, yeah, my whole life is just volleyball. Like, what do you mean by that? Oh, I like to play. I work full time for USA Volleyball. Yeah. Love this organization, by the way, and coach on the side too. It's just a lot. So,
it's same, yeah.
So we're talking about volleyball.
Absolutely.
And, I'm sure this isn't the first time you've been asked this too, but it's something we really like to hone in on and just really dive deeper into. But how were you introduced to the game of volleyball?
Oh, okay, that's a great question. And maybe my answer is similar to a lot of volleyball folk. I grew up in a sport family. Dad played multiple college sports. Have 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister, so I'm 3 of 4 daughters in the family, and he was like the epitome, girl dad, and like just getting us opportunities. And my 2 older sisters played volleyball, so I kind of followed their footsteps. But we weren't the kind of family that would like dive in when we're 10. So I think I started in 7th grade, and it was, from then on, it was just like kind of what I did. It just became part of my identity.
I see. What position did you play? Did you?
I played middle, just because you know how coaches do. Like, oh, she's tall, let's put her in the middle. It makes sense. Yeah. So I played middle most of my life until my 3rd year in college.
Okay.
Then I got to play pin, and it was like glorious. God bless those middles, but man, it's like a circle. You just like are transitioning and like doing a lot of hard work with middle blocking, and then finally. Not that pins have it easy, but it was easier.
I love middle. I used to play middle, and then I played a little bit of outside too. But I appreciate it. Just always.
I love the right side, yeah. So that's like block and transition, sure, yeah.
So, do you want to talk about a little bit about your career in college?
Oh, sure. Right out of high school, I went to Cornell College, which is a sister school to Colorado College. It's a liberal arts school in Iowa, and they're known for the block program as well. And so that matched with the way that I learn to pick up a school that would introduce one academic subject at a time. So I went to Cornell College. My sister was there. We got an opportunity to play together, which was super great. I played there for 2 years, and then got married and had my first baby, and then moved out to Colorado and played my junior year here in town, which is like crazy. Yeah. And then my senior year, I played volleyball and basketball my freshman and sophomore year, but then my senior year, I had to transfer again because we were chasing, early career paths.
Got it.
And so I was down at University of Southern Colorado, which is now University, what is it now? And the one in Pueblo. I think it's Colorado State University Pueblo.
Yes, CSU Pueblo,
yep.
Correct.
And I was not intending to do athletics my senior year, sitting in psychology. I was really fit then. The professor goes, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, I play volleyball and basketball." He goes, "You play basketball? We need a center." That's basically it. I did like a 20-minute tryout and then played basketball my senior year.
The trial was a conversation in the classroom. I'm just kidding.
That's exactly the way it went. So, yeah.
So what from that point, what kind of transitioned you into the coaching aspect of volleyball? What got you into that?
Okay. What got me into it? I guess just an opportunity. When I was a junior in college, there was an opportunity. I was playing volleyball then. There was an opportunity to coach basketball at the local school, and I had the time. And I was a full-time student then, but I had the time, and I took that opportunity and I coached basketball. And then I knew, maybe almost like from first coaches meeting, I didn't know actually what I was doing, but I knew that, that sparked something. This is exactly what I want to do. My educational path was to be in, organizational behavior, psychology, and business administration is my major, like that's the path I was going. But it really parlayed nicely into sport and into coaching, and I've just been literally doing it ever since that moment. I don't know if I've not coached. Yeah, so every sport, like you said, every element of my life is volleyball right now, and I've been coaching either volleyball or basketball since.
Got it. Okay, so you still coach basketball?
No, I don't. I haven't coached basketball in a while.
Okay.
The ladies know that every now and then they give me a ball and they're like, "Whoops, underneath the legs." Yeah, so they know that I've played, or I'll shoot the ball. Yeah, but I definitely don't coach right now. Yeah.
Can you recall your first time transitioning into coaching volleyball and that feeling of just maybe running your first practice or having your first team meeting, or taking that step into leading a team of athletes under you? Like, were you nervous, or like? What were you feeling
I
there?
think every coach will say this, that you want to go back and just make apologies to all of your first teams. Like, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry that I was like that." Not necessarily. I mean, I always will lead with my heart, and everyone will know that I love that. It's like, that's it. I just like a really caring relationship, but I felt really underprepared in some regard. Did we have even team handbooks at first? No, I didn't. I mean, it's like there's some things that you learn along the way on best practices. And so, it was there, nothing particular. I think I was a little bit nervous, but if I think back to it, one of my athletes that I'm still connected with from my very first coaching experience, I was probably 21 at the time. And what are they? They're 17. And so when they connected with me, they reached out, and I thought they would be like 20 at the time. And this was like literally decades after, because time goes differently for yourself as it does for others when you're not connected, but they're the same age as me. And so it was like, I felt really comfortable in those first positions, because we were like peers almost, and it's just like, this is the way I would do it. And yeah.
What advice do you have for somebody that's stepping into that coaching role, or even a mentorship role for the first time?
For the first time, I would just say, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest out loud. be honest and just like lead with your heart, and you really can't go wrong in that regard. It is important in the coaching profession, in any profession, honestly. It's important to lean on those beside you that have gone before. What is it? Standing on the shoulders of giants. So just take those experiences and really make sure that you're like learning from those as well. They may not be your individual experiences, but you can really learn. And so that would be my suggestion to anyone new getting into it.
I think that was very well, beautifully said, because
Thank you.
I've been asked, hey, can you head coach this team, blah, 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 blah. Like when I first was starting coaching, this is only like in 2021. And
absolutely.
I'm just like a deer in headlights. Like I'm also trying to be a sponge and just like, okay, this is a lot happening here.
That's exactly right.
And you have so much responsibility, and like you said, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to just meet your players where they're at,
right.
And then also see where you can grow and develop into.
Right.
It's a lot. There's so many layers to it.
I mean, honestly, it's like you're not going to know everything, and as long as they know that, and they know that you're just like so open and honest, they're going to respect you. It's like I even tell our athletes now, it's like, this sitting game is relatively new to me, and the discipline is not quite the same as the standing game. I mean, it's all volleyball, but there's some nuances, and I'll lean on them. I'll say, what do you think is best here? And so it's more, Socratic, instead of like me just saying this is the way we're going to do it, because that would be foolish.
I see.
They've been doing it longer than I have. So it's like, I'll learn from you too. Yeah.
So I think that's a good note to kind of switch a little bit. I'm still on the conversation of coaching, still on the conversation of volleyball,
absolutely.
But how did you get involved with things on the sitting side of volleyball?
Okay, that's a good question, because that happened probably in 2014 is when I was at the time also doing volleyball with the Iowa region, and I was asked to be on the Paralympic Commission, and I started connecting in that space, and then I had known about it, but that's when I really dove in. And then in 2016, I was asked to be the team leader of this national team. And then in 2018, I saw the position for the resident coach being posted, and then I went from there. But long story, I have a nephew that was an amputee due to a cancer situation, and when he was younger, I reached out to Coach Hammeter, and I said, hey, I've got an up-and-coming athlete for you, those kinds of things. And sadly, he's my nephew, and he passed in his battle, but he's forever my why. Yeah. So I just have that personal connection, and just know that sport is important no matter where you are in your life journey. And I wanted him to stay connected in sport, even though he was dealing with this, crap, honestly, this crap as far as his physical body was going. Yeah.
I'm going to pause real quick.
Sure.
And just give you a hug.
Oh,
I feel that.
Bless you. Thank you. Yeah, it's something. But yeah, if you have a why that's that strong and you're that passionate about, sure makes getting up easy every day to go to work, because it's like, why you're doing it. Yeah.
And you're definitely somebody that genuinely and passionately loves what you do, and I can tell that every conversation I had with you. I remember talking to you for a little bit at the National Beach Junior Championship in Fort Lauderdale, and just like it's just great all around. Like you're always somebody I just love talking to. But on a more brighter note, let's switch gears a little bit.
Let's do that.
What's something or a couple things that people don't know about you? It could be a fun fact, it could be an embarrassing fact, a hobby. More like just your personality side.
My personality side. I don't know if you've looked at the calendar, but our schedule is intense. We don't have like the regular season. We start in January. We basically end in November. And so there's not a lot of time for hobbies, but when I'm home, I like to garden. I like to ride bike. I like to spend time with family. Those are some things. I some people might know that I commute between Oklahoma and Iowa, and my drive is 10 hours. And so I have a lot of time to listen to books and listen to podcasts.
So not only
this
are
podcast,
you passionate, but you're also insane. But
I'm also insane.
The most,
that's
like,
that's
I mean
exactly.
that in such a good way.
That's exactly right. So what's your commute? 9 hours, 10 hours? Yeah, and a good, yeah. So that's something that maybe people don't know, that our Paralympic Training Center is in Oklahoma, in Edmond at University of Central Oklahoma. And I would say my home is in eastern Iowa. So I do that commute on the weekends. So
just casually on the weekends.
Just casually on Thursdays.
And on top of on top of your wild schedule where you're probably always traveling, you're literally traveling right now. We're sitting in Colorado Springs right now.
But I mean, who can complain? We're in Colorado.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's snowing too, so it's like the perfect time.
It's so great. Yeah.
But let's talk about back-to-back gold medals. In Rio and in Tokyo. What do you think was the biggest attribute to winning those back-to-back medals?
The team attribute, that took something, because as everyone in the world knows, we had a COVID period in there. And so you're gearing up. I'm the resident head coach for the women. And, when it comes down to it, we're, having a little countdown on our whiteboard. And then all of a sudden we get back from Crossroads and the world basically shut down. And so now, like, are we ever going to even get an opportunity to win a back-to-back, or is that going to just be brushed over? We're going to move on to Paris. So I would say this team, their strength and their resilience, and their grit, it's like, no, we're going to keep training. We trained virtually. This is crazy. Like, you're literally in your living room where we're trying to get some reps in, and we're like doing some Zoom and things like that. And we connected with our sports psychologists via team Zooms, and even our dietitian. We would do like cooking in the kitchen. Everyone would go get their things, and we would just do fun things like that. But I would say the grit and just the tenacity just to keep going. A lot of teams have that, but this particular team, and especially on the Paralympic side, there's already been some sort of needing to overcome in these ladies' lives. So they're good at it. And not to say that that's fair. But they really were gritty and strong in these last two quads.
How much of that has carried over into this year, 2023, and going into this quad, getting ready for Paris? I would use the word transition, and Coach uses that a lot too. We're in some transition.
I see.
We coach women that are between like 16 and 40, and a lot of life happens between 16 and 40 for women, for everyone, but for women, yeah. So we've got a lot of babies happening. We've got some marriages. We've got some graduations, some moving on to college, some career changes. So we are in a position, in a period of transition right now. We've got we've got 3 new babies in our program since Tokyo. We've got one mama that's about to have her baby. So it's like a lot is going on. But just their flexibility and their resilience, and I think the fact that this is hard, but I still am beside you, and I'm still beside you, and I'm supporting you, whether your journey looks a little different now. How can we make this happen? I think that is what makes this team great.
I see.
Yeah.
For those people who aren't really aware of what goes into the recruiting aspect of
parasport, yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely. You've known that we are kind of at the mercy of just having our sport the spotlight on us. It's like we really take advantage of events where we have that opportunity. I think one great example was we were like the coaching staff. I was like, how amazing was at ABCA when we had the opportunity to be recognized on the floor at this massive event, just to have the words parasport or sitting volleyball said. Yes. What it does is it like puts that out there into the world. Like, this is something, and this is something that somebody might be able to do, because anytime that word is shared, then people know, and then they may reach out to us. And usually it's through like Instagram. They'll see one of our Instagrams and then they'll say, hey, how do I get involved? And so then once they've reached out, we, myself and Coach and Elliot Blake, he's our program manager, will get on a Zoom with that athlete and their family, and we'll, kind of bring them along, and then we'll invite them to our sitting national team development program, and where they train together maybe 5 times a year, and then they train there until it appears that they're ready to start like integrating into our national team program. And that's just the journey. And that journey, that space there, for some is long, and for some it's very short. We have an athlete that just this past weekend, we announced that she's a national team athlete now, Mackenzie Franklin, go girl. She's from Minnesota. 2 years ago, she had like a tragic motorcycle accident. Was a volleyball player, college kid, lost her leg. And she didn't even know, found out about our program. We connected, and here she is on our national team right now. So yeah, the journey is sometimes longer depending on their volleyball experiences coming in, but that's basically the way it goes.
I see. And you touched on it a little bit here, but
yeah.
What are some of those classifications that?
Oh, sure.
That
would qualify someone for our particular program.
Correct,
yeah.
We're on the same page.
No, yeah. Classification is exactly the word that we use. So classification, you're right. Every athlete in our program, and let's first put that out there, because my Uber driver on the way over here, he goes, yeah, my mom would take her athletes to Paralympics sometime. And I'm like, oh, tell me more about that. He meant Special Olympics. And so we have to like really make sure that we're educating the public, because sometimes they don't know the difference. Special is for some sort of like mental impairment. Para is for some sort of level of physical impairment. So all of our athletes are challenged in some way physically. There are 2 classifications. This is kind of technical, but VS1 and VS2, and it just means that you're either permanently fully disabled according to the classification, or you're a minimal disabled. Most of our athletes have some sort of limb loss, like they were born without a hand, or they had cancer and had to have an amputation, or an injury had them lose a limb. But we also have some other levels of classification where like you've got a muscle imbalance, like physically, like one leg is like different than the other. We've got another athlete who, Whitney Dostey, I'm not sure if you know all of our athletes, but Whit was playing professionally, standing over, I believe it was in Turkey, and shattered her ankle. And it was so bad that recently she's had to have, right before Tokyo, had to have that ankle fused, and that would classify her. So there's a range, but it's some level of physical impairment where having this adaptation would be helpful in your sport.
Thank you for touching base on that. I mean, just knowing about minimal classifications, I think that's new territory for a lot of people, and you just educated me on a lot of that there. And so people are watching our games like, oh, so like number 14, so she's able-bodied and she can play. Well, she's a minimal, and so you don't necessarily like see all of their disabilities. Well, we know that in life, everyone's challenged in some regard, but you can't always see all of their disabilities. But there is some level, and they have to go through doctors' visits and be classified. Yeah. So I see.
Yeah.
And with the roster, that you take to the Paralympics and your tournaments and different championships, are there certain number
compositions?
Correct.
Yeah, there is. World ParaVolley just let us bump up to 14.
Okay.
So now for most events we can bring 14 athletes. Within that composition, 2 can be minimals. And right now we have 3 on our team. So 2 minimals, and then you can take 2 Libros if you're over 12 athletes, 2 minimals, and then the sport rule is only 1 minimal could be on the court at a time.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot to take into just how you just plan.
How you plan,
Who are we taking? And
absolutely.
It's a lot to strategize on top of just your normal strategy for
that's right
for anything you're competing in. But I do want to touch on, and I don't know if this is 100% publicized yet, but potentially bringing these sitting teams to our Open National Championship this year in Dallas.
Right.
I think I just got word from Elliot that that's going to be a thing. I'm so excited because that's the tournament I run.
That's right.
Two, like it's just going to be an amazing experience. I think this is really going to be a growth year for Opens, and then the fact that the sitting teams are coming back.
It's been a minute.
I'm so excited.
I don't even remember anyone. Do you remember the last time we were at Opens? It's like with before COVID. So 2019 probably. And so it's been a minute. There is one, I think we're navigating that. And so maybe that's why it hasn't been announced yet. We want to be there. But then there's also the Super 6 tournament that they overlap.
I see.
And that's in Finland. And so we're like deciding which route we're going to go with that. But we really would love to get back to the Open because that is another great outreach opportunity for us. We not only do a training camp prior to the second wave, but then we have that sitting division. In that division, anyone, if you're over 18,
and I still haven't tried sitting volleyball.
You are going to.
Try it. That's my goal.
Absolutely, you are. Yeah. Yeah, you can be on team, and one of those ladies will definitely recruit you because that's one of their responsibilities is to bring some teams.
I love that.
And in that event, we do integrate any able-bodied friends. Yeah, so, yeah.
I see. So, kind of aside from the specific conversation about Opens, but what else? What are some of your other team goals and aspirations during this new quad heading into Paris?
Yeah. We need to qualify.
Number
one.
We
need to get a bid.
We
need to get a bid. We had an opportunity at World Championships, and it just didn't go the way that we needed to go. So you either win or you learn. And so we've got a lot of things that we're contemplating and we're working through as we develop our new system. We have two opportunities this year.
Okay.
One is at Zone Championships in May up in Edmonton, and then another would be at World Cup, which is in November in Egypt. And so both of those are opportunities where we can earn that bid. But you can't. It's important to keep that front and center. But it kind of makes you wiggy too, if that's like, it's like it just puts so much pressure on you. So we are just learning and getting better every day, and taking it, moment by moment, practice by practice too. Yeah.
I know your team. You just mentioned that you just recently had a chance to qualify, and you took third place.
Yep.
And this
We're
is a
talk
team
about this?
in
No,
program
I'm
that
third is great.
I'm trying to set you up for this. Like you guys are a program. Your team's a program that is used to winning, like so what you do, first place or nothing, right?
That's right.
So how is that fueling you into these other two opportunities going into May and November?
Well, this sounds like coach cliche, but you can sometimes learn more with a loss. I mean, we missed the opportunity. We missed the opportunity to get the bid. We missed the opportunity to do something that we've never done. They haven't won gold at World Championships yet. They were kind of joking, well, this is a color medal we don't have yet. It wasn't the one that we were thinking about coming home with, but we'll add it to the collection. But so it's it really just like kind of opens up your eyes and staff and athletes on what we can do better, what we must do better, and moving forward. And I think those are good opportunities too.
I see. Well, I can't wait to follow along and just see when you guys are going to
when
qualify.
we're getting that bid.
It's going to happen. I'm
absolutely.
putting it into the atmosphere, into the air right now. We're speaking into existence too. So best of luck to you guys
Thanks.
there. But
I appreciate that.
I do want to switch gears a little bit. I mentioned we got a chance to connect way back in Fort Lauderdale during National Beach Stroke Championship, and
it was on the beach.
I saw a relatively new thing, Beach ParaVolley. Insane. Can you just talk about, for those who don't know, and
that's my hobby,
are interested, one of your hobbies, okay. But just talk about that and the progression.
Absolutely.
Just what Beach ParaVolley is and what the future of it looks like.
That sounds great. I was on the job here 3 days on the job. I was hired to be the assistant coach for the women's sitting team. Maybe 3 days, not even, maybe. And Bill Hammeter comes up to me. He goes, hey, I know you've got beach background. What do you think about kind of overseeing this little thing that we're trying to do. Beach ParaVolley. And I said, oh, absolutely, because in my job with the Iowa region, I was the beach director, and I had a lot of connections, and I really that was something that would tie a lot of things together for me. And I said, absolutely. So took the job in January. By April, I think we were sending a team to China for one of the world championships. So really a lot of pieces, like, here we go, like, get your uniforms, we're getting going. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was big and fast, and we produced, several camps, and then COVID hit. And dang COVID, and then we were down for a year and a half with COVID, but we're back. So Beach ParaVolley is beach volleyball on the adaptive side. Nothing is different except we run with 3 adapted athletes on our teams. There's classification there too, but that's being developed. So it's just basically, if you classify, then we can put you on a team composition. You just can't have more than one A athlete on a team. It's just like there's different composition than it would be for the sitting game. But yeah, it's 3v3, same size court, same size nets, and it's just fabulous. It gives these athletes an opportunity to play standing. Also, I've got some beach athletes that aren't sitting athletes, and I've got some sitting athletes that don't want anything to do with the beach. A lot of our leg amputees are like, that's insane. Why would I want to do that? But it's great. It's great. This past year, I think we produced four training camps, an RDE, which is a recognized development event in Gulf Shores in conjunction with the NCAA Final Four.
Wow.
Championship there, not Final Four, but the championship, Division I championships. And then another massive event down in Florida at our Paralympic training site, our Beach ParaVolley training site in Tavares. We were able to piggyback on the Great Central Open AVP, the AVP Central Open, and that was great. That was an international event for us. Team Australia came over, and so we're rocking and rolling. I don't even think I can fully breathe yet, because we were supposed to know by the end of January, but now I've heard through the rumor mill that maybe it will be before mid-February. If LA 28 is picking up the sport as a true Paralympic sport.
That was going to be the next question.
I know. I just threw it in there. But yeah, so we're kind of on pins and needles here waiting for that announcement, and really hopeful that they would, take a chance on this emerging sport and let us, have that debut right there in LA.
That's making me anxious too.
I know.
One, LA is my
Please,
hometown. Two, I'm just
come
like,
on.
ooh, I just hope and wish for the best.
Yeah,
there too.
I
It's
think
an
so
emerging
too.
Sport,
Yeah.
and it seems like it's got a lot of momentum moving forward there. So
I think so too. Yeah. So that's a little bit about what I do on my free time. That's what I do. Yeah.
The free time you don't have.
That's right.
But,
just produce a couple events. Yeah.
What is the future of Beach ParaVolley? I mean,
Right.
given maybe everything goes right with
Yeah.
LA 28, or things don't
go right. I mean,
right. Don't go quite your way.
Yeah, I know. It's like if we don't get that opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. As far as within our, USA Volleyball is a national governing body for Beach ParaVolley. So we'll still be supported. I don't know where funding will land. As soon as we get that Paralympic status, more funding will come in and we'll be able to expand what we're doing. But I don't know what kind of funding, but we'll still be pursuing this. We'll still be giving these athletes these opportunities. I'm still making connections with adaptive sport communities, with VA programs and things like that, it's just one more sport, It's like, I think these athletes deserve that, and it's just, the great thing about Beach ParaVolley is you can have a group of 3 playing against a group of 2, so it can be just, you can integrate it. It's really easy to integrate into any other beach tournament. Basically, these athletes can have that opportunity, and we're seeing that worldwide, where these athletes are getting those sorts of opportunities. And so it's not going anywhere. It's just the level of, are we keeping it in high gear, or, are we and we'll keep it in high gear. I don't know what I'm saying. It's not like we're going to do anything different, but
We know what you
but
meant.
more funding would be
Yes.
great. Yeah, so that's what we're hoping for.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what excites you the most about Beach ParaVolley and the direction it's heading? What's just been that most just like this is?
It's
I know
the
there's a
same.
lot
I
there.
mean,
There's a lot
I'm
there.
not necessarily coaching on the beach side. I mean, I could, but I'm more
I feel
of
like
the
you are. You're just
admin.
gonna end up, you're gonna end up doing it
Yeah.
too.
I'm more of the admin here, and I'm like producing these opportunities and connecting with these athletes. But it's still the connection and seeing them come and try something and challenging themselves and having success there. Whether no matter the size of the success, they're having success and just really seeing their happiness and their connections. These training opportunities, they really bond.
Mm-hmm.
They really bond. And then they like lifelong friendships. And so I think that's my favorite part about it right now.
And that's just attributing to the game of volleyball as a whole. Like whether you play
absolutely.
club or high school, it's like you don't remember the score.
You
for,
don't. Yeah.
The tournament you had in January
Right.
at noon. You remember, the team outings and
That's right.
just the moments and
That's
just
right.
those special, just everlasting things that only you and your team and those
Yeah.
around you can really relate to. So that's
Amen.
yeah. So I mean that unfortunately brings us towards the tail end of our interview. I feel like we can
absolutely,
talk
yeah.
all day
We can,
about this
yeah,
stuff.
there's a
and
lot of
catch up
volleyball.
But is there anything else that you maybe just want to speak on, whether it's on the sitting side, standing
Right.
side, volleyball community, anything we maybe have left on the table that
Right.
hasn't been spoken
No,
of?
I just right now my time is devoted to the para side.
Mhm.
So if you're listening to this and you like everyone might know somebody, or maybe you're an athlete who might benefit, please reach out. We are always looking to grow our pipeline. We don't have the advantage that I'm not saying their life is easy. The national standing team, it's like you got thousands and millions of athletes training to kind of filter up to their bubble up, but we don't have that advantage. So we just need to make every connection we can. And so, follow us along with this journey. The team has social media accounts. You're going to ask me what those are. We're going to have to post that.
That's my
I don't
next
know.
question.
Just go to USA Volleyball and find us on the page, and then you can find all those links. How about that?
When it comes to recruiting in the pipeline, where or how can somebody reach out to either you or Elliot or just what is that outreach?
They can reach out to any of us. Our emails are easy. It's just our first name dot last name at usav.org. They can, and we'll get them going in the right direction. I've had male athletes reach out to me, and then I'll put them in the male pipeline and that kind of thing. Parents reach out to us if their athlete's younger and they see this is the trajectory that they'll be going. Just reach out, call, tweet at us, hit us up on socials or whatever it is. Find us, Even on our website, even on USA Volleyball's website, there's a it's not like a recruit me tab, but it's something like that where you can find all of our email addresses and connect. Please connect.
Got it.
And if we're at an event doing like a drop-in, like in Boston in March, we're going to be at a juniors event there doing a friendly with Canada. Please come up and watch our teams connect, say hi to us after the game, and we'll just definitely, we can build connections that way too.
Well, it sounds like you have definitely one, a lot on your plate, two, a very exciting year ahead, and I myself am very excited along with all the other listeners and our podcast team and everybody. We're all excited to see what 2023 holds.
Here we are.
I can't
23.
even say it right. It's actually New Year, but Michelle, thank you again for taking the time here.
No problem.
Just to
I
sit down
really
and have
enjoyed
a
it. Thank you.
conversation. Thank
Y'all
you.
do good work. I love listening to you.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Take care.
Michelle, always one of my favorite people to talk to whenever we get a chance to cross paths at events or here in the office when she's in town. My goal is to get her and Patty Rolfe in a room and just say, hey, this is what we're talking about. See how that conversation goes. They are some of the best storytellers and just good personalities just to be around too. And I really enjoyed getting a chance to sit down and talk to her in person
too. Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be cool to get them in the same room and talk to them. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Michelle, clearly, as you heard, she wears a tremendous amount of hats, spends a tremendous amount of money on gas with that weekend commute. Are you kidding me? Just casually 10 hours on her weekends. But I mean, just to highlight from that, just her involvement and passion and love for the game of volleyball as a whole, touch base on her story a little bit, on how she got involved and committed on the sitting side of things. It's very inspirational, and I commend her so much for that. And she takes on a lot, and she's definitely the right person for that.
Yeah, just like you said, the energy that she puts into the programs, both with the sitting teams and the Beach ParaVolley program, and just the you can see and feel the love and passion she has for those programs, and those programs wouldn't be what they are today without Michelle. So
Mhm.
just love having her involved in those programs, and love to see the growth of those programs, and just the awareness like she touches on in the conversation, the awareness and education of others of what sitting and beach paravolley is. It was just awesome to have her on the show here to talk about that. That was really cool.
Absolutely, and I was really educated on the classification portion of that
Yeah, yeah,
conversation here. Just learning about BS1, BS2. Obviously, BS2 is less of a impaired individual. These are, I believe she also called them minor classifications that have to do with that there. And it's just a lot goes into it. A lot goes into just strategizing. One, your recruitment. Two, your rosters for whatever tournament competition you're competing in, and it's just a lot that applies to the strategy portion of it. And I also really love how she plugged in and was very realistic about recruiting. And
yeah.
if those of you who may fall into one of those different classification categories, make sure you reach out to the sitting program's email, sitting.volleyball@usav.org. And there's also Michelle's email, again, like she mentioned, first and last name, michelle.goodall@usav.org, and she'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction and get you set up.
Yeah, yeah, the just the different ways, for recruitment into sitting and beach paravolley. It's, different from the indoor standing side of the games, different from the beach standing side of the game. It's the it's really about the awareness of sitting volleyball, getting people educated on what it is, differences between sitting, or rather Paralympics versus Special Olympics, that she talked about. But I think we talked about this with Greg Walker too back in our episode with him. But just if you're at an event, whether that's volleyball related or not, and you see someone who might have a disability, might be playing sports, whatever it is, approach them and just let them know, hey, I'm, you know, uh, play play for USA Volleyball on the junior side, but I just saw, the sitting teams at a qualifier, and it was just really cool. And maybe they have no idea what that is, and you can point them to that email, sitting.volleyball@usav.org, or the website, just to have them learn more about sitting, and get that introduction. And who knows, maybe they're on the sitting national team, and
Hmm.
fighting for a spot to represent USA in the Paralympics. Just really cool. And part of that awareness too kind of goes to, uh, one of the highlights over the weekend for Michelle was,
Hmm.
welcoming Zoe Rollins, who, for those who don't know, is an athlete for Norco, Club Norco here in Colorado. Was in an unfortunate car accident and is now paralyzed, but she came to watch, the sitting team, train at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center, train, and
Hmm.
got to meet them. And just an awesome video that we have on USA Volleyball's social media right now, on the Instagram, of the whole team and Zoe kind of in a circle pepper, just passing the ball around, which is super cool. And just huge shout out to our women's team for welcoming Zoe, and spending a lot of time with her too, just to get to know
Hmm.
her and her story.
Yeah, that stuff definitely goes a long way. And I love the forward progress that the sport of not only para volleyball is making, but beach volleyball in general. So, I mean, again, big thank you, Michelle, for coming onto the show, into our studio, actually, to just talk fitting and talk beach para volley and talk about how you got into coaching, and, even sharing and being vulnerable, and, just talking about where that sparked from. I mean, it's very exciting to see the growth and awareness continue. We hopefully will be getting good news soon on the International uh, Paralympic Committee, set to hopefully have that decision made by February on whether or not beach paravolley and 32 other sports, yes, 32 other sports, they have a lot
That's
to weigh in
incredible.
on,
Yeah.
right?
will be included in the LA 2028 Paralympic Games. But until then, best of luck to the U.S. sitting teams this upcoming season. 2023 is definitely a busy year for you guys, but a lot of opportunities to qualify for the 2024 Paris Paralympics are coming up soon. So we'll keep everybody updated on across our social media channels, and just again, fingers crossed and wishing the best. But you can definitely check out our U.S. Sitting team's Instagram. They both have their own Instagram accounts there. You can check them out at USAV_sitting_WNT and USAV_sitting_MNT on Instagram, and also to follow the sitting team's journeys on Twitter as well. So stay updated with our programs, and best of luck to you all.
Now on to upcoming events.
Oh, I got you.
Oh,
now let's see what's coming up the grapevine with Stevine.
Oh my gosh, that was
on
great.
upcoming events.
Incredible on the fly there. Incredible work on the fly there, Clarence. All right, yeah. Now on to upcoming events. We have the Beach Pro Tour Finals, January 26th through the 29th in Doha, Qatar. Stay tuned to USAV Beach on Instagram and Twitter for updates and results. Then onto the junior side of things, Florida Fest Boys National Qualifier, January 27th through the 29th in Schaumburg, Illinois. Oh, that is not correct, because that is not Florida. We will find that. 1 second, 1 second. On the fly here. On the fly. We don't need to cut. Don't worry.
No, you're
don't
fine. You're
worry.
fine. All right, you do that, and I'm gonna go into some.
No, I got
event
it.
reminders.
I got it. I thought it was Fort Lauderdale, but I didn't want to say it and then have to redo that. But
Oh my God.
the Florida Fest Boys National Qualifier, January 27th through the 29th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Look
There
at
we
that.
go.
Seamless, so smooth. The Northern Lights Girls National Qualifier and 18s Qualifier, Week 1, January 27th through the 29th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Arizona Desert Freeze Beach National Qualifier, January 29th in Glendale, Arizona. The Ohio Valley Girls 18s National Qualifier, February 3rd through the 5th in Columbus, Ohio. The Mad Sand Juniors Beach event, February 4th in Plano, Texas. Good luck to everyone competing in those events, and shout out to all the USAB regions for setting up and hosting those events. More details on all upcoming events can be found at usavolleyball.org.
Oh yeah, very well said. Nice recovery too. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But a few more updates on the indoor club side of things too. Don't forget, registration is still open for those looking to compete in the Salt Lake City Showdown qualifier on April 8th through 10th and April 14th through the 16th. As of right now, there is no wait list, but as teams get in requirements, that can change for certain divisions. So get your requirements done if you are looking for a wonderful qualifier to compete in. Registration is also open for our national championships, our Boys Junior National Championships hosted in Salt Lake City from June 29th through July 6th. We have our Girls Junior National Championship, 11s through 13s in Minneapolis. Registration is now open as well. Those dates are June 14th through the 17th. We have our Girls Junior National Championship, 14s through 17s age divisions in Chicago, Illinois. Registration is now open. I believe the Patriot division was a frenzy. It was down to literally the seconds on whether or not teams got into the Patriot division or not. But
Wow.
That'll be rotating throughout the year as more teams start to, earn bids to nationals and such too. So, I mean, if you're not on the wait list, get on it now or forever hold your peace, because it is a frenzy for sure. And as of today, January 25th, registration is also open for our USA Volleyball Open National Championship in Dallas, Texas. I'm so excited about that. We can potentially have our sitting national teams host some exhibitions, training sessions, and also host our sitting division there too. So that's very, very, very exciting news to potentially hear. And yeah, those tournament dates are May 26th through the 31st in Stephen's hometown, Dallas, Texas. Good luck to all teams traveling and competing in our national and regional qualifiers soon. More information on all of those dates, divisions, and deadlines can be found at usavolleyball.org.
Remember, listeners, you can rate and review, share with friends, family, teammates, whoever it is. It really helps our podcast grow when you share. the podcast, share episodes, helps us reach new listeners. Check out our video episodes as well. They are now on our website, usavolleyball.org, and the USA Volleyball YouTube channel. Thank you for all your support. Do you know a club that should be featured or a story that you'd like us to share? You can email us at the usavshow@usab.org. Leave us feedback. Let us know about any future topics you want to hear about. Reminder, new episodes drop every other Wednesday. And until next time, thank you for listening to the USA Volleyball Show. This is the official podcast of USA Volleyball.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson. Produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producer is Laura Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree J. Cox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.